In the South, there's a fierce determination to play. I'm not saying at any cost, but they will get it in. What Herm says is on the minds of everyone. Now, the question that we can't answer right now is it lip service, or are they really going to be sincere and diligent in what they're going to do? And I think there are some questions that we haven't even heard about yet. You know, will players be eager? I mean, they want to get out of the house just like you do, and Max and Molly and everyone else. But I've talked to some parents as well who have serious questions. So what is going to happen next is simple. In a lot of places, really throughout the country, I think, you're going to see athletes return to campus for limited and voluntary, I put in air quotes, workouts. That is going to be a major test of whether the schools are set up, because right now, I can't tell you how many different versions I've heard of this college football season. From 4 weeks ago, athletic directors say, no way, we're not playing without fans. That's not college football, to what Harbaugh said yesterday.
Paul, I find the idea that they could actually complete a college season, I'm highly, highly skeptical about that. I think in areas where there's political allegiance to leaders who are flying in the face of health experts or burying their opinions, et cetera, and also warm weather regions, there's much more optimism. In the South, obviously, you have a confluence of both those things. And so, but I believe they might be able to start. Whether they finish is something else. And this idea of 40 to 50,000 fans potentially in the stadium, absent vaccinations, is complete, to me, pie in the sky. But let's say they can do something without fans on some limited basis, only conference games, for example, something like that. What do you think that looks like?
I think it looks rather bizarre, Max, and I do understand where you're coming from. And you know, all I've tried to do here is represent what I hear. In fact, I talked yesterday on our program to Brian Kemp. He's the governor of Georgia, who has been in the fire from a lot of criticisms, a lot of critics for opening up his state early. It looks like so far he's been successful. But he told me we will have football on the first weekend of the season. We'll have college football in Atlanta. There are a couple of games scheduled there, and he was extremely confident there'll be pro football the following week or two with the Falcons. And I just think it depends on where you are talking. But I converse with college football fans every day, primarily from the South, but from other parts of the country. And there is an intense desire. I've heard scary things, albeit from fans who are disregarding this pandemic, like a lot of people up and down the dial. But the majority of the ones I've spoken to will find a way to get to that stadium, whether they have to sit 6 feet apart or sit on top of one another.
Paul, you know, I'm not going to get too deep in the weeds here, but where Max and I disagree, at least from what I deduced from what he said, is that, you know, Max usually brings up somebody's political allegiance as somehow, some way influencing their thinking. And I think that is significantly less of an issue than just pure economics. Being at home, not being able to work, worrying about sustaining or elevating your quality of life. And as a result, you're saying the hell with it. I'm a responsible adult. I can wear a mask. I can wear gloves. I'm willing to take that risk. I'm not talking about myself. I'm saying that there's a lot of people out there, I think, have that kind of mentality. You have a radio show every day. What do you take from that? Do you believe it's really about people thinking that this is not as serious as it is? Or do you get the impression there's a lot of people out there that recognize, excuse me, this is very serious, but damn it, it's worth the risk because I can't sit at home and watch my quality of life drastically deteriorate because of risk. I'm willing to take the risk. What do you get from your callers, your listeners, et cetera?
Yes, Stephen, it's the latter. We've done everything we can. We're losing money. We're losing our livelihood, and we are willing to take the risk. A lot of people cannot afford to, and I certainly understand that because I speak with many every day, and I empathize with them. The bigger issue beyond what fans are thinking, I think, comes down to college presidents. And this is a peculiar group at times. And I think a couple of weeks ago, collectively, they were wondering, there's no way. We cannot get people, we cannot get students on campus. But they have taken a long, hard look. If they come out today, let's say the various presidents announced today that they weren't going to have students on campus or college football, they would immediately find people bowing out of tuition, out of donations, and they are scared to death. And that's really what's driving this. Political ideology, I think, is around. I mean, you can't ignore it. It's everywhere. But I think it's a fear by college leaders that they will go bankrupt if they don't have college football, ultimately is driving this zeal to get back players and ultimately to open up stadiums for the games and eventually the fans.
No question. Paul, I want your personal opinion on this. What do you think of the idea of waiting potentially to the winter or the spring for college football?
I think it's a disastrous concept, Molly, for a lot of reasons. First of all, you don't know where we'll be then. So if you can get it in now and don't, you're taking a big risk. Secondly, the best players are not going to play in a winter sport. I mean, does anyone really think Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields and great first-round picks are going to waste time in February, March, and April when they could be working out and getting ready for the April draft? And that's a big risk. And you also, if you don't play now, you seed Saturday night to guess who. If there's no football on Saturday from the college and the NFL are playing, you don't think Roger Goodell is going to say, you know what, I think we'll put a few games on Saturday night and draw 16 or 20 or 30 million people watching. So all of these factors, and there are many, are affecting the mindset of the people that run college football.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.